Welcome to The Last Word, Mr. Chris Post. I'm David Jenkins, and Chris, it's district championship time. We've got 4 games this week. Everything on the line. Winner go home. State quarterfinals are next for our winners. For our losers, they're playing basketball.
Yeah.
So we'll just dive right into it.
Let's do it.
Let's just start Class 1. We'll just work our way from small to big. And
Let's do it.
Go. Okay.
I'm excited.
We'll start off with controversy. And
a little bit of a controversy.
Hayti, Valle Catholic, but the controversy is that Hayti's Dayon Moore was ejected for targeting last week. You were at that game, and I know you're going to talk more about it later.
Yep.
But he's gonna miss the Valle game, and he's one of their big players, if not their main player there. It's a big loss for Hayti.
Absolutely on defense. He is an absolute force on defense. They moved him from safety to middle linebacker, which I think at the high school kind of suits him a little bit. It gives him just even more of a dynamic front as far as getting to rushes and things like that. But yeah, he's a huge loss, and like I said, I'll talk more about that later. But without him, without Maurice Farr, who's been injured for most of the season, it was going to be shaky for them to beat Valle anyway. And we've kind of been looking forward to this matchup, maybe expecting this matchup previously. But I know they're not going to go over and lay over. They're not going to lay down just because they're facing Valle and without 2 of their main stars. But it was already shaky, but without them, it's even a little more dicier. I think Valle, Valle's Valle. They know how to win these games, and they've done it for quite some time now. And they're not scared of Hayti. They faced the beast that is Lamar this year. They faced the beast before. So for Hayti to come in, they're gonna have to get a quick start. They're gonna have to have some kind of confidence early. They can't let Valle roll in the first quarter. They can't let Valle get up, and they're gonna have some kind of good sustainable drives, and Alan Mills is going to have to be the guy to Friday.
Yeah, the Moore loss is big. He played cornerback against Caruthersville whenever he's going up against George Qualls, and so he can match up. They just kind of match him up wherever he's needed the most. They kind of would need him probably on a cold wood in this game, I think. It's a big loss. I think Hayti's going to be fired up. Kind of win. Let's win one for Dayon. Let's win one for Maurice.
Yeah.
But Alan Mills has over 3,000 yards of total offense. I mean, he is he's dynamic. Yeah. He's tough to stop. He has 30 touchdowns. He's thrown for 30, ran for 18, 48 touchdowns. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's why I said he's going to have to be the man Friday.
He's only thrown 3 picks.
Yeah.
He doesn't turn it over much. They still have some other weapons. Devontae Robinson. But he doesn't have the receivers that he's going to have, so he's going to have to do a little bit more. I think Valle gets them late. I think this is really, really close to the very end. I think Valle gets them late just because they're used to being there. Yeah. They're used to these situations, and Hayti is not.
Hayti they're inconsistent at times. They don't usually put a full 4 quarters together, and it's not because they don't have it on the field. It's just because honestly, it's kind of a mental thing with them. It really is, because if they face adversity, any kind of adversity, they just kind of get down on themselves, and it shows on the field absolutely tremendously, and that's something they have to overcome. I don't think they're going to do that in one game. This is going to have to be something that they had to work on throughout the season. I've seen it. They've had mental lapses. They've had things not go their way, and they just don't really perform well. And against Valle, any weakness, any kind of slip up, and they're going to take advantage of it.
Somebody's eventually going to beat Valle.
Somebody is.
Somebody's eventually going to
take a team like Hayti.
It's going to be a team like Hayti.
Yeah.
It's going to be a team that's quick, athletic, and can just at some point you just put Timothy Hamilton out there and say, run as fast as you can. I'm gonna throw it,
and he can. And he's a
guy.
There's
nobody. We've seen Valle. There's nobody on Valle that can keep.
I don't think so. And Timothy Hamilton is an X factor. Devontae Robinson's gonna do his thing. He's gonna catch passes out of the backfield. He's gonna run. They still have weapons, even though they're out without Dayon Moore and Maurice Farr. They still have guys that can make plays. Alan Mills tops that list. I think he's the guy that's gonna have to he's a little tentative, a little bit to take off. He's gonna have to do that this Friday. He's gonna have to make plays.
On defense, their top 2 tacklers are still out there. Weatherspoon and Winters. Winters has 145 tackles. My goodness.
Yeah.
Maybe run to the other side.
Yeah, he's everywhere. Dayon brings the boom. he's the consistent guy. He's everywhere.
Right. He's the quarterback of the defense, but Winters and Witherspoon, both sophomores.
Yeah.
They play really well too. We'll transfer from that one to probably what I think is going to be the game of the night is
Absolutely.
Caruthersville at Malden.
The battle.
Caruthersville lost. Malden beat them in triple overtime in week 2. This game is just set up for just they've had some epic battles.
Yes.
Last year's district championship game was fantastic. I think it's going to go down to the wire again. Whoever has the ball last wins. It's going to be it's a coin flip. It's a coin flip.
It really is.
This game.
It really is. I flipped and it went Caruthersville. I'm going Caruthersville. I think they end the streak this year. It's just kind of set up for them to do it. Malden has been kind of one-dimensional this year. They run the ball. Don't really have much of a passing attack. I think they've, like kind of the research you've done, they've tried to kind of air it out a little bit more as the games went on. I'm sure you probably have a little bit more on that. But, it's Caruthersville, they have weapons with DeAndre Davis running the ball. They've kind of switched quarterbacks throughout the year. Charles Galladay and George Qualls, like you mentioned, he's a threat on the outside. He can get up, jump, and just go get balls anywhere that's thrown to him. And Galladay, he's a threat to run as well in the quarterback position. So they have weapons, and with Malden, they've got their hands full. I know they snuck by him once, but I don't know if they'll do it again.
Yeah, I'm going to go Malden. Every time I pick against Malden, they end up winning.
Yeah.
And I picked against them earlier this year against Hayti.
Yeah.
And they pulled through. They had some shaky moments, but Malden has some injuries that they're going to have to fight through. They've not been really impressive the last part of the season. They struggled against Dexter. They struggle early in the games, and that's kind of been a problem for them. But Trey Stevenson, he's got over 1,000 yards rushing. Pete Brown, Mason Brown, whatever the quarterback's name is, he has just shy of 1,000 yards rushing. So they have kind of two-headed monster. It's real tough when they run that little read option that they run. I think the offensive line is where it's going to be won.
Absolutely.
I think, and their offensive line has shown this entire year that they can get it done when it matters. Caruthersville's tough to defend. Qualls averages 23 yards a catch, which is crazy. Malden's doing a better job lately of getting the ball to some of their playmakers, Krigler, Kilgore. They're trying to get them a ball a little bit more to kind of spread it out a little bit, and that's kind of helped them put up some points. But I think Malden wins. It could go 10 overtimes. I think they're two evenly matched teams, and it's going to be whichever team makes the fewest mistakes. You can't turn the ball over. I know that Malden's thrown a few interceptions this year. Galladay's I think he only has 3 interceptions. So I think it's going to be whoever turns the ball over less. But I think Malden, their experience, and they played a lot of close games this year that a lot more than you would think. Yeah. And I think the experience with that gets them through. Caruthersville, when they play close games, they've not won those games. Yeah. So I'm gonna take Malden this one.
Yeah, hey, to beat the man, you got to beat them. And
right.
Malden's been that man. They've won the last 5 against Caruthersville, including the last 2 district titles. So, it's like you said, it's anybody's game. I think it's a push game.
Again, somebody's going to beat Malden eventually, and it's probably going to be Caruthersville at some point. And
you would think that would be the team to knock them off, but a big loss I think for Malden, and I don't think he's played since maybe the Hayti. I'm not really certain on that, but Howie Payne, he's a guy that's been out, and I think that's a big loss. He played with them against Caruthersville last time. He's a defensive guy. He kind of brings the boom a little bit for them, and on offense he's a fullback that just continues to just open up some holes that the offensive line pushes 5 yards, he gets the extra 3 just because he's a fullback. But he's a blocking fullback, and he's one of those guys that kind of leads the charge as far as that rushing attack goes. And I think he's going to be missed in this one.
You speak about rushing attacks. Let's talk about Hillsborough and their 443-yard performance from one running back, Michael Killer.
They're still scoring touchdowns right now.
I've never seen Sykeston's defense be gashed the way it was by Hillsborough.
Yeah.
And, Hillsborough, unimpressive to me through the season. They played some games that Hal Festus with their defense, what I saw held them to 22 points is beyond me.
Yeah.
But Hillsborough just ran wild on Sykeston. Now they get Cape Central, who upset Farmington. I'm going Cape Central. I don't think Hillsborough can do it twice. I don't think they can do it. And I think whenever Keller gets free in the secondary, Cape Central has guys that can chase him down. Sykeston didn't have the speed to chase him down.
I get you, and you know Cape Central's playing very well right now, and they seem to turn it on this time of year. And you know, with Hillsborough, like you said, they kind of threw some things at Sykeston that wasn't expected. Talking to Derek James after the game, and you know he said that you know they did some things that Sykeston didn't see on film, and that's what you got to do. And with Michael Keller, and you know they knew Michael Keller's going to be somebody that to kind of to spy on, but you know he just absolutely let's see, what was his numbers?
443
537 yards rushing for the team. 443 yards, 7 touchdowns against Sykeston. Nobody does that against Sykeston.
Teams don't do that.
No. Teams don't do that. And you know, with that, when you can run the ball like that, I like your chances. I'm going Hillsborough. You know, Cape Central, they have kind of been playing well, but consistently throughout the year, it hasn't really just been that consistent team. And when they get into a situation like this, I just see Hillsborough kind of running the ball and controlling the game.
Yeah. One thing for me is Hillsborough can't stop anybody. They can't stop Cape Central. They won't be able. I mean, they're Sykeston had an onside, a kick that kind of went off a player, and they had fumbles, some turnovers that kind of hurt them. Otherwise, Sykeston matches them point for point. And I think Cape Central, as long as Cape Central doesn't turn the ball over, I think Chisholm has a huge day. I think Harris has a huge day.
Yeah.
I just don't think Hillsborough can stop them.
Well, those two got it started last week. Chisholm ran for 173 yards, 2 touchdowns. Harris was 167 yards, 3 touchdowns. They got back to their bread and butter, and that's running the ball.
They get more than that this week. I'm saying they both get close to 200 yards. They're going to go run wild on Hillsborough. Hillsborough defensively is not strong, and I think, like I said, Cape Central can track them down in the secondary, and Keller down in the secondary, and keep him from those big runs. Where Sykeston wasn't able to do that. I think Cape Central gets the win.
There you go. Well, let's move up to Class 5, District 1. We got Vianney and Jackson, and who would have saw this coming? They've met the last 4 years in the district in some capacity with one another. Jackson the top seed, Vianney the 3rd seed. Jinx, who you got?
I'm going to take Vianney. I want to take Jackson so bad, but I think Vianney's just a lot better. I do. Just the schedule they played is extremely tough. They played some good teams tough in losses. Jackson, I think they're good. I just don't think they're as good as Valle or Vianney. Vianney just hammered them last year in 2 games. I don't think it'll be that bad. I think it'll be fairly close, especially playing in the pit. But I just think Vianney just has a little too much. Jackson struggles with quick teams. Vianney's got a really quick quarterback. I think they struggle.
Yeah, last year in the district first round, Vianney hammered them 49-14, and Jackson's kind of the same team. They're not, they're a little better obviously than last year, but Vianney, and like I said, we've talked about this last week, is just their schedule and they're battle tested, and that's kind of what my pick is kind of been based on. But they took care of Poplar Bluff 56-21 last week. Poplar Bluff, high offense type team. They kind of shut them down at 21 points. I think they do the same against Jackson.
Vianney has athletes all over the place, but their quarterback is really, really good. And I think Jackson, has struggled with teams that have that kind of offense. And I just think Vianney is just a little too strong for them. But I'd love to see Jackson win that game, get us another team in the playoffs. But I think Vianney wins that one.
I agree, and I think your reward for winning this district is Chaminade. So
have fun with that.
Yeah.
So
anyway, there you go.
All right. Well, we talked a little bit about it before, but we're going to have our last word, and Chris is going to address the Dayon Moore situation.
Last Friday, Hayti and Scott City met in a district semifinal in the Class 1 District 1 tournament at Hayti, and there was one particular incident that went on. Hayti senior Dayon Moore was on part of the kick return team for Hayti, and on that return he saw a chance to make a block, and he did. And boy, did he ever! He completely ran over a unexpected Scott City player. A flag was immediately thrown, and the decision after that was that he was called for targeting. He was ejected from the game, and in that he is banned from playing in this week's district title game against Valle. For one, I can't say that I disagree with the call or that I agree with the call. It really is kind of the referee who made the call. It was his judgment. And with a bang-bang play like that, and with Hayti's Dayon Moore, who's 6'2", 200 pounds, his sheer size, and the guy that he blocked it kind of was made to, didn't really have a choice but to look like he hit everything, and that was included with the head. And it was an unfortunate incident, and obviously Hayti players are upset about Deion's ejection, meaning that he will not play in this week's district title game. But I don't think that he should be banned from this week's game, and I know that's the rule. He was ejected for targeting. I think either we look at a rule change to maybe look at the play a little further and decide if, and I believe that they did, an appeal was made. But if you're any kind of fan of high school sports in Missouri, that that any kind of appeal made in any kind of game is never overturned by MSHA, and that's kind of a shame to seeing that some instances could be overturned. With the ejection and the targeting, that's purely a opinion on the referee and whether it was true or not. I don't think it warrants an ejection. I believe that Deion should be able to play in this game, but to no avail. Hayti would be out without its best player and essentially against one of the best teams ever in Class 1. So it is an uphill battle. It is a tough test for Hayti, but hopefully for their sake they can overcome this, and a call that probably, like I said, it probably wasn't the wrong call, but I think the outcome and the call that was made should have been handled a little differently. That is my last word for this week, and we thank you for joining us this week on The Last Word.